options for the business. I'm here to talk about how to create an API or custom API for a headless Drupal. Let's go into it. First of all, what is exactly a headless Drupal? Does anybody have an idea about what is headless Drupal? No? 1, 2 hands. Okay, let's well, sorry for the scheme. My strength is not to draw this kind of slides, okay? But I think if you can understand everything that is going on. At the left, we have the traditional Drupal stack. So it's like the Drupal backend, and then the Drupal theming. That means that everything is executed in the server. So the Drupal itself renders the HTML. You know, when Drupal, when you send a request, a page request to from the browser to the server, Drupal gets it, do some processes with PHP, and then it has a really big array of data that is still not rendered, and then it passes it to the Drupal render function. And usually, well, there are several options, but usually it takes that big array and converts it into HTML in the server, and then that information is sent to the browser, to the client. So this line here in the middle is the separation of what is executed in the server and in the client. So as you can see, the line is divided what we call now Drupal head. We didn't call it Drupal head before that we have the headless Drupal, but now we have to put a name, so we call it the head of Drupal. So part of it is executed in the server, as you can see, and the other part is in the client. So until here, we can say that that's the HTML that is sent to the browser or to the client, and then there is some other part of Drupal that is also being executed in the client. It's typically just JavaScript and CSS and so on. So that's what we are having for today, and we will still have for several years, I presume. But now we are facing a new kind of architecture in which we have clearly differentiated what is the Drupal backend, what is executed in the server, and what is sent to the apps, to the client apps. Usually also they come in the browser as well. We will see it later. But for now, it's like totally differentiated, and now we need an API for the clients to be able to communicate with the server and well, make the request and so on. So what I'm going to talk about today is about how can we create this piece of content over here. I'm gonna do it quite practice, so I hope every one of you learned something new today. I don't have too much slides actually, so it's gonna be more likely a demo. So, well, before going into that, let's answer really fast the question: why do we need a headless Drupal? First reason I would say is that because the new JavaScript frameworks are something that have came into the web world, and they are here for stay. So they are like the future or even the present, most likely, of the web. I'm talking about AngularJS, I'm talking about Backbone, I'm talking about React.js, and several other technologies that even don't exist now, but they will exist. Basically, this piece of content, what they do is they get some data, usually JSON. JSON is the JavaScript object, so you can think it's like an array. The array I was talking before, you can think like something similar to that. It's not the same, but it's something similar. And then these JavaScript frameworks do the work of translating from this array to the HTML that then is finally shown in the browser. So for the user perspective, the people that is surfing the web, nothing changes. It's everything the same, but the architecture is totally different. So this easier, the page is not reloaded and things like that. So all that kind of smoothing transitions from pages and so on is one of the benefits among others. From pure Drupal perspective, I could list those things. There could be more, but basically, since we don't have to render anything, for us as backend developers, the life is much more easier. We just have to provide a basically JSON or XML or whatever, but we don't need to render. Render is something that consumes times and effort and deal with many problems as well. So that part we don't care about it anymore. Due to the same reason, the performance is going to be much better, of course, because the rendering is something that takes some amount of time in the server to process. So. Well, and also I saw this easier to work with different teams. I saw in some blogs article it's as I mentioned here, it's much more clear divided what is going to be done by the backend team, what's going to be done by the frontend team, and so on. So that also helps. Which kind of clients would use the API? Well, I have this list here. If you were in the second keynote this morning, I think that's the better explanation I would say. Like he was talking about the journey planner, how the API they are using these open APIs can be used for several other applications and so on. So everybody wins, I mean, especially the users. So we are gonna learn how to do that in Drupal, how to create that API. So the clients can be mobile applications, as we mentioned, Flash components, other Drupal sites, other servers, other systems, other databases that are around in a company. They maybe just want to extract some data from Drupal and process it some way. And also the upcoming Internet of Things, that any device can have an IP and do some stuff. So that's also going to be clients of our APIs. So continue. How can we create an API in Drupal? Well, Drupal provides basically 4 solutions. As a really good open source software, you have several things to choose from. So we are going to be from the basic one to the more complex one, or the more things that you can do easily. Okay, the first one is views data source. I guess most of you know what is views module, but I know some people that are totally new here. So I'll explain a bit what is views module. Views module is the I think it's the #1 country module in Drupal, and it's for listing and for showing content that is in the site. So it's totally flexible, and you can add many things, and among them you can, instead of saying that if you want it to render in HTML, I want it in XML, I want it in JSON. So for doing that, we go to the views. I've already created this view, but if not, you just click this button. One of the advantage of this is that we don't need to code anything. It's going to be everything doing just the way you want. So we click on edit it, and I already created displays for JSON and for XML. But basically, what we have to do is to list all the content we want to show. So I'll really quickly talk about how views works. You can define here the format, which is the thing that is going to change here in this example. In this case, we have selected JSON. We have several other options. We have HTML, we have grid, we have some others, and other modules can actually provide more options here. But the views data source module provides both XML and JSON. Actually, let me show you from here. Yeah, so let me show you more. Sorry. this is basically this is the country normal module, and this is the other the view data source module that I downloaded. So it provides JSON, it provides RDF, it provides XHTML and XML. So I'm just gonna do I'm just gonna show you how to do it with XML and JSON, but it also provides several other options that I also tried and they work, but I think with JSON and XML is just enough for this presentation. So once downloaded, you just have to enable them, of course, and then they will appear here. And then continuing with views, we can add here as many fields as we want, of course. Just browsing in this list. We can also like rewrite it, the content, whatever we want to do. We can also filter, sorting from several options. This is views. I'm not gonna talk about it anymore, but just for people that know what views is, it's just query creator or Drupal. And then we can display the data as JSON in this case. So I created a path, a page, and they needed to have a path. So I created customly this demo data source.json. So I'm going to show you here how it looks. So yeah. This is basically showing all as we have configured here. Only filtered by published content. I only have like I think 10 nodes. So they just list them all and prints it as a JSON object. As easy as that. No coding at all. If we don't like, for example, this body text to be like that, then we come here and then we change the label and so on. So if you are familiar with views, you won't have a problem, I'm sure. And then we also have the XML version, which is exactly the same as the previous one, but I just changed the format here. And of course the path as well. So the same data in XML, as you can see. Pretty flexible, pretty useful, easy to do, but of course very limited because we cannot update any content on that or something like that. But it works just fine. But okay, let's continue. What if we want something else? Because this is just listing of all the content that is in the site, but what if we want to know something more specific, like one node and show me everything about one node? We cannot use views for that, at least in theory, but you could do it, but it's not proper to do it. So Drupal community provides as well the REST REST web services. This module is its goal is to be really simple to use and straightforward as well. You can access the data totally directly, but you cannot change the path as you want it or whatever. But it's quite simple and it works pretty well. And this is why it has been introduced in Drupal 8 core. So in Drupal 7 we have it. Well, I didn't say that before, but this is everything about Drupal 7. Okay, I have a talk later about how is the status about this in Drupal 8, but this all the demo and this in Drupal 7. So this REST module is country module in Drupal 7, and it's in core in Drupal 8. And it's basically you can think about it as a wrapper around the entities. For those that you don't know, the entities are like the basic piece of content that Drupal system provides. You can think as an entity as like, for example, the content, or users, or taxonomies, or whatever. And they are all buildable. It means that you can add as many custom fields as you want. So this this has is like, well, it's not a limitation that way, but they wanted to make it simple. So what they do is to the path is going to be as familiar as with the path we usually have in Drupal. So as you know, nodes can be accessible always by just providing the path node and slash and the node ID. So the developers of this module thought that it would be a good idea if they could just ask this JSON extension to them, and that's what exactly it does. So we have exactly the same data before, but in a JSON file that we can transfer whatever. And I think I also set it up for XML. Yeah, so exactly the same solution for XML. This module also supports the entire CRUD, which means the creation, update, retrieve, and delete HTTP protocols, requests. But I'm not going to go into that in this demonstration. I'm going to do it later on with other module, but it also provides that. But basically, it's just that you cannot. I mean, it's a wrapper about entities, around entities, and that's basically it. It's in that way it's simple, but it works pretty well. So moving on, we also have the RESTful module. This is the newest in the Drupal contrib ecosystem. It has been created by the user Amit Taibu. Maybe you know him because he's the creator as well of organic groups and the message stack, which are quite useful modules, by the way. So he has created this RESTful module. Its goal is to provide like or implementing the REST in the more the best practice for how REST should be, best practice for security and the performance and usability and so on. I've been checking this module for showing you here, but I thought that it was like extremely developer oriented, and it's, in my opinion, it's not as useful as the next one, which is the service module. So let's go directly to service module, because, ladies and gentlemen, this is the module you want to use. This is the complete solution for creating APIs and Drupal sites. You can think about it as a framework for creating them. You can also create not even well, it's not only resource based, but it's also you can also create like different servers. So we have the REST server, but you can also implement, if you want, a SOAP. For those that, I explain briefly what's REST and what's SOAP. SOAP it's like well, they are both communications protocols, but SOAP was created, I think it was 1998 or something like that at Microsoft premises, and it's XML based. But the goal of the SOAP module is to provide transactions, so it's really useful for banks and other insurance companies, for example, as well, that they want to transfer data from one of their servers to another of their servers, and in a really secure way. In the other hand, we have REST. REST is some kind of, SOAP. It stands for, I think, it's Simple Object Access Protocol or something like that. But the symbol it's only its name. It was not so simple. And REST, it's like a rescue for that. So it's like, let's make it even easier. So REST was born like some years later, and it's now like the most used in the internet now for this kind of purposes, of course. It doesn't provide a transaction, so if the information is sent, the server SOAP is only XML, but REST all introduces as well the JSON format, which is pretty much, I think, nowadays the standard format for exchanging data in internet. Because XML, it's also quite, let's say it's hard for the parsing systems, and JSON is by far much more simple. So service module introduces the endpoints, which are the key for creating the custom path. So it's totally custom. You can put it, select the endpoint you want, and not like before you had to be like node/1/whatever or .xml. Here no, here you can put any endpoint you want. It has still some limitations. I'll discuss about it later, but compared to the previous one, it's really good. And also, as a good module, and as country module that is popular, it has like several extensions. So several modules extended, for example, with views, or you can have service rules or extensions for search API as well, or several modules for authenticated. I'm going to discuss, if maybe have time, probably I will discuss about how views is integrated with service module. So how can we use the service module? Well, two things to have in mind in service module. One is the endpoints. I just talk about them. It's just like the path. You can, the endpoints are like the path. So from this path, everything on the right, it's going to be managed by the service module. With custom, of course, and the resource. The resource, you can think about them as, for example, a node or content. So you send requests against a concrete resource or a user. So you can show me the total information about this node, then that's the resource, or show me all the nodes about this. But we will see all these things in an example. Previous modules, introducing they were supporting the CRUD operations, the create, retrieve, update, and delete. But service module not only implements that, but it also extends it. So we can also have global actions to all the resources in the system, or target actions to only one of the resources, and even relationships between resources. You can think of relationship, for example, between a node and its comments. So you can have, okay, tell me the comments from this node, and then you implement the relationship. We are going to see this in a demo right now. But just before that, last thing is the schema of the resource. I said that service module is quite configurable and so on, and that's true. But at some point, you have to follow some quite strict guidelines. So this is how it looks. How it's going to look the paths or the API paths. So first we will have the endpoint. That's totally custom. You can choose whatever you want, and then slash the name of the resource you are accessing, and then depending on what you want to do, you'll have to. The right part it's open for the ID of that resource. If you want to retrieve one ID, or if you omit any ID, you just put the endpoints and the resource, you just get everything. And if you are implementing an action or updated actions, you just put it as it is here. So I'll show you in a demo, but just knowing the differences, and also depending on the request type, like if it's post or pull or delete, whatever, it will interpret it that way. So let's go to a demo for service module. I've created a totally new module just for this session. So I hope it's quite clear to understand. As many other things is just understanding, and then it's obvious. At the beginning it will be like, okay, but after a bit explanation you will get it, I'm pretty sure. So this is the module, but before going that, let's go to how it looks the service here we can create as many endpoints as we want. So if we just, for example, you just click here, you can obviously, as any other C tools based content, you can export and import and so on. But we will have to provide a machine read name, select the server, and this local system might have only the REST one, but you can also implement whatever you want, and the service module provides by default, I think it's REST, and the other is yeah, and the XML RPC server, it's also provided by default. So if you want to use it, but we are going to use the REST one. So then, well, you select it here, the endpoint, you put it here, the name you want. It has a debug mode. It's useful, but in my case, if I want to debug, I just use the xdebug extension, so I don't really use this so much, but it just prints messages in the watchdog, the log, Drupal. And yeah, and you also can select some session authentication and so on. For this demo, I have disabled it, but you have like some options there, and there are some other modules that extend it. So if you don't want the basic authentication, you can have some others. Yeah. So once you have created it, it appears here, and then you have these other options. Well, you can change clone, export, and so on, edit the authentication, and so on. But the important thing is the resources. So it checks in the system which are the implemented resources that are available. And by default, the module comes with all these: the comment, file, node, system, taxonomy, taxonomy vocabulary, and user. My module provides this menu one. The views module provides this one and this one. So, but well, just out of the box, the module has quite a lot of resource. Okay, most likely will cover most of the people needs, but still. So for each one of them, you have like options to maybe you just want this endpoint to only retrieve data from here, and you want to have an endpoint for retrieving data and a different endpoint for updating data, because you just think it's more secure for the system. That's perfectly easy to do with service module. So you just choose the resource you want to use. For this demo, I've created the menu one. So we are going to retrieve, update, and so on menu links, or menus and menu links. So I've created a callback for all of them. So for the index, retrieve, create, update, delete, I've created a relationship with the children of the links, and also a targeted action for changing the status of the menu link, so disable or enable. So let's go through the code. How does it look? First of all, we have to implement this hook, the service resources hook. I guess some of you have experience with implementing hooks and so on, and the info ones. These are just for telling Drupal what are we going to do. In this case, we are just telling first that we are going to implement the menu resource, and then we are going to select, or we are going to tell Drupal which operations and which options we have. So this is basically it's as easy as fulfill this kind of form. Okay. So let's start with the basic operations. The operations is the CRUD. So we have the index, we have the retrieve, we have the create and the delete. So let's start with the index. You just select this kind of help text that is shown here, like here. The callback, the function that is going to execute it, and arguments, and in this case there is not any argument, but it could be, especially for filtering. But one, and then we have yeah. So yeah. So basically, what we are gonna do when we send a request with asking for Drupal to index all the menus that there are in the system. I started with this try block. It's just for if there are some errors, just print it nicely in the watchdog and show some error to the user. But that's common for all the functions I can implement. But what we do is just to get all the menus get by the machine name. We have this Drupal function for doing it. And once we have the menus, this is just like the names of all the menus in the system. And for each of them, we just load them and add it to the menus array that we are gonna send back. So this looks like service demo is the endpoint. I'm gonna do it everything in. Let me change one thing here. I'm gonna do everything in with XML, and I think I have to change it. Yeah. Well, I didn't talk about this part, but anyway, you can choose for the response format that you are available. As you saw, I have the XML and the JSON. It's just adding this extension at the end. It's as simple as that. But if we remove this, we don't have to put any extension, of course, because there is only one. And the request as well, that we will see this a bit later for when updating the thinking server, but we will upset only JSON. So this should not be available anymore. And yeah, we have these 4 menus of the system, as we were expecting: the machine name and the title and description and this and that. Then, as you remember from here, let's go to retrieve, which is like putting endpoint /result /ID. In this case, is the machine name. So we copy paste this part. I'm gonna give it a tab. Yeah. So now we are listing the links of this particular menu. So I'm going to show you how it looks in the code first. We are implementing, I should have started here. We accept the menu name. One difference here is we have this source parameter. This is for telling service where are we going to place the variable. In this case, it means that path. It means that it's going to be here in the path, and then this number here means where it's going to be. So, for example, we have after the endpoint. So if we have like first one, if we change this 0 to 1, then it would be here at the right, and so on and so on. Okay. But that's for you to know. And the other option is to have that as a param. In this case, it's the external one. So param means that we are going to add it as this, like extra parameters. So we are offsetting here the menu name and one additional parameter of external. So for showing which links are going to be external or internal to the own Drupal system. So in this case, we have everything. I just tell it to show everything. We have Google, which is external. We have Drupal, which is external, but we have these others. Well, we have actually this one that is internal, and the others are most likely external as well. So if we want to filter it, just add it like external. Which are the external ones? So it removes the node one, and if we want to list it, like show me only the ones that are internal to the system, and it works. Let me show you how it goes in the code really fast. It retrieves all the links, we can turn between showing the entire link or just to show some kind of teaser link with only 4 parameters. So I also added that option here. You can see if it's full, just leave it as it is, and if not, we just cook it and put the parameters we want to put. Have to go a bit fast because then we have the target system, target actions. So we define it's like, okay, set a menu link as enable or disable. Okay, so I'll show you. Yeah, this is the menu we're showing. So imagine we want to switch off this Twitter. So first we have to know which is the Twitter mlet, which is 348, and then we call this target action. It's, let me check how is it. I think it's main menu. I have to remember this. Main menu, and then set status, and then it's asking for the menu name I gave it, and the mlet and the status. So I think it's mlet 348, and no, I'm doing wrong. Yeah, okay. This is a post. Yeah, I should go to the relationship. Sorry. Yeah. Confused here. Yeah, children. So children of the social network mlet. So first of all, we check which one is that social network mlet. So it's 346. So we add it here, 346, and it shows it's only Facebook and Twitter that you can see here. Of course, if we just show totally different number, it will be empty. So that's the relationship. And then let's go, I don't have too much time, let's go to the create, update, and delete options. So we have here the create one. The difference here is that we have to send a post request. So we do it with this module, the HTTP request. Okay, so we have to send it to the endpoint slash resource slash and then the body data. So we have here, I already created it before, but yeah, this is service demo, is the endpoint slash menu, is the resource. We are sending a post request to it with this data. We are going to create this menu name, the service demo, with this title and with this description, and we just submit it. It just goes, and here we reload it, and then the newly created menu is here. If we want to update it as it's here in this documentation, we just send the put request. So, and it's exactly the same as before, but instead of post, put. So we can do that. And I have it here already. We are going to update the service demo menu with this title, this description, which is a bit different from demo, resource name, menu, and service demo is again the ID in this case, the menu created. So we send it a delete command. It's sent and it's gone. So we can update it and modify it. And I have not shown you the code of this part, but let me go through it a bit fast. It's at the end. Create. No, here. Yeah. So first we check if we are receiving the correct data, the menu name, the title, whatever, and then we put it in a new menu and then just execute the menu save function. As simple as that. And if not, we send this service error function just for showing the user nicely how there was some error. This 400 means that the data that it's sent, it's not well created. The same goes with update. It's really similar. We just retrieve the menu. We check that we are having well, first that it exists, and if it doesn't exist, let's go. And we just clean the data is being received with the check line function, and then we save it. And the delete, it's basically the same. Just load it, check that it exists, and delete. And finally, I'm gonna show you the targeted actions. So this works like targeted actions that I created is to show, to being able to change the status of the link, so it should set it as enable or disable. Okay, so well, we implement in this way. We are expecting the menu name, the ID, and then the status. With the status, we are expecting inside the data. Okay, and then the mlead as a parameter of the request. So I'll show you how to look the no, is it? Yes. So once we have received the status, check that we are the JSON contains the data we are expecting it, and if it doesn't, let's go, return, and then we check that the mlead as well is passed, and if it is, then we just change the status of that mlead, and if not, we change the status for all the links in that menu. So this is why we have this recursive function here, just goes through all the links and do it. So I don't know if I have it here. So yeah, I have this, you can see it here, and again endpoint, name of the resource, the ID, and then the targeted action. So it's endpoint, resource, ID, and the targeted action, and then we are passing it the mlead. Okay, and we are doing it with a post request as it's written here. And this is the data we are sending. We are sending a JSON object, and we are expecting it in this format. So let me show you. One moment, 344. Yeah, so it's the Drupal one, and 344 is the one that we are gonna enable or disable. So if everything goes correctly, well, actually no, it's disable. Yeah. So we enable it, submit it, we reload it, and it's there. It was not there before, and we can also disable it session. So, yeah, thank you. If you have any comment or question, you can ask me now, or you can tell me later. I will be around in the booth or in our Excel booth. So, any questions so far? Okay. Well,
Do you use service?
hello?
Hi. Do you use service in module?
The service entity module.
Yeah.
Mm,
Exposed entities service.
the search entity module. What? I don't get you.
It's a config module, but anyways.
Service entity. No, I have not used it. I've used the service views, and I have used some authentication. But well, I don't have time for showing you the views module now. You can think about the views module is like similar to this one. It just shows the content of